The Avengers Season 5 Review. Hello and welcome to another Avengers review. Haven't done one for a while. I think I did Season 4, was it last year or the year before? But whatever, I'm finally getting around to doing Season 5. Why? Because I feel like it. This season was aired in 1967. There are about 26 episodes, I think, something along those lines. And it again stars Patrick Macnee as John Steed, of course, and Diana Rigg as Mrs. Emma Peel. This was the very first season of the Avengers to be made in colour. The season begins with From Venus with Love, which sees astronomers studying the planet Venus apparently being killed. Is it an alien invasion? Well, probably not, but there's something odd going on. This was actually only about the third episode of the Avengers I'd ever seen, and only the second colour one, because I did see one of this season's episodes in the early 90s at a fan club in Adelaide. That was the very first time I'd seen the Avengers. But then it was like 3 years later, and I liked it, but it was like 3 years later before I saw another one. I rented the Avengers from a local video shop, and it was one of those double episode things that they had with one of the black and white ones and one of the colour. So the first one what I watched was season 5's The Town of No Return, and the other colour one was From Venus with Love. This isn't one of my favourite episodes. It's okay, and it's kind of amusing as a Doctor Who fan because you've got Jon Pertwee in it. Not only have you got Jon Pertwee in it, but he's playing a brigadier, which is very funny, really. But it's an okay start to the season. The next episode is The Fear Merchants, which sees people basically being driven out of their minds with fear. Some competitors trying to drive their competitors out of business. This is another just kind of okay episode. I'm not a big fan of it. Episode 3 was Escape in Time, which is an organisation that apparently helps criminals escape the law by sending them into the past with a time machine. Now, this is a really fun episode. We have Peter Bowles in it, not for the last time, probably not for the first time actually. He always plays different characters. The legendary Peter Bowles, as well as Jeffrey Boylan. This is a really, really fun episode. The next one is The See-Through Man, which is about apparently Russians having bought the secret of invisibility from an English scientist. You've got Warren Mitchell in it as one of the Russian intelligence bosses. He appears in another episode as well, if I'm not mistaken. See-Through Man is okay. It's not quite as much fun as you would expect from the premise. It's sort of okay. The next one is The Bird Who Knew Too Much, which is about a missing parrot that may have a clue to espionage going on. Honestly, this is one of my least favourite episodes of season 5. One of my least favourite episodes of seasons 4 to 6. Actually, I just find this one kind of boring, even despite the presence of actors like Kenneth Cope and Anthony Valentine and Ron Moody. I'm just not a big fan of this one. The next episode is The Winged Avenger, which is about someone killing off top men in the publishing industry, dressed as a comic book character and apparently having comic book character abilities, including walking up sheer walls. This is a great episode. This is one of my favourite episodes of the Avengers. Really fun, really wacky, really entertaining, and there's a wonderfully droll climax with the showdown with the killer, where Steed is using basically huge pieces of comic book art to bash the guy over the head, and on the comic book art is words like "pow" and stuff just like in the 60s Batman TV series. It's very funny. That's one of my favourite episodes. The next episode is The Living Dead, which is about a sleepy English village where the dead may be coming back from the dead. This is a pretty good episode. I've heard a lot of people don't like this one. I don't mind. It's got a pretty decent atmosphere. And I mean, it's got the great Julian Glover in it as the villain. Obviously, he's always the villain. That's good enough for me. It's a fun episode. The next episode is another favourite, The Hidden Tiger, which sees people being killed in rural England by what appears to be some kind of big cat or something, but no one knows where this cat has come from or how it could possibly be around without anybody seeing it. This is a really fun episode. You've got Ronnie Barker in there. It's actually, the plot is actually not entirely, or at least the surface level plot, not the details. It's actually kind of reminiscent of and the payoff is actually kind of reminiscent of the season 3 X-Files episode Tessos Dedos Bichos, or whatever the hell it's called, where it's supposedly a big cat that's doing thing, and it turns out to be something a little closer to home. This is probably better than that one, though. I like this one. The next episode is The Correct Way to Kill, which sees an organization of people who are killing off both British and Soviet agents, and Steed has to kind of team up with the Russian agents in order to find out what's going on. This is an okay episode. I'm not a big fan of it. It's okay. The next episode is Never Never Say Die, which is about a guy who just keeps on coming back from the dead, supposedly, and there are some very strange things going on. This is another really good episode, another favourite of mine, and I mean, how can you not love an episode where the main guest star is none other than Count Dracula himself, Christopher Lee? That alone gives you a thumbs up. This one also has Christopher Benjamin in it, an actor very well beloved by Doctor Who fans, of course, Henry Gordon Jago. Yeah, I really like Never Never Say Die. I have to take a moment here just to point out the re-released Studio Canal DVD sets, which are absolutely beautiful. I mean, they really make this show look so good, and they really show up how beautifully it was made, and the colour and the atmosphere. Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. I mean, I have actually got the American Blu-ray. I didn't think it was all that good, not least because it didn't include the opening credit kind of sting, which really kind of pissed me off. Apparently, I've heard rumours there may be Blu-ray releases on the way. I'm not sure how much they could actually improve it. I mean, I've always been very happy with the restored DVDs. The original ones were kind of crap, but the restored ones from about 10 years ago or something, pretty awesome. The next episode is Epic, which sees Emma being kidnapped by a demented movie mogul who tries to force her in a movie about her own death. This is a fun episode. I've heard some people slag this one off. It's a bit kind of repetitive and plotless, but it's a lot of fun, and you have got the great Peter Wyngarde in it as the bad guy. I like it. The next episode is The Superlative 7, which I think is a remake of a black and white one. I have to be honest, I haven't seen all the black and white ones, with not the Emma ones, obviously, the Kathy ones, because I find it a bit. I'm going to have to try them again at some times. But this one has got Charlotte Rampling in it, a young Charlotte Rampling. She was freaking beautiful. She really was. Brian Blessed, Donald Sutherland, and it's basically 10 little Indians or whatever the PC word for it is these days. God knows. Steed is invited to a remote island with 6 other people, and it turns out someone has invited them all there with the intention of killing them all off. I really, really like this one. Great atmosphere, great story, great fun. This is an Emma light one. I think there's Epic was kind of a Steed light one. That was Emma's episode. This is more of a Steed one. This is the better episode. I would say this is one of my absolute favourites. Really good stuff. The next one is A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Station, which is about a station that doesn't exist. There's some kind of espionage network being carried on involving train stations that are actually not in commission. I don't really remember this one that much. That's odd. I guess this is one of the ones that I didn't see for a very long time because my Avengers viewing was very weird. I saw like a handful based on the VHS releases, and then that stopped. It took a long while to get the DVD. I vaguely remember this one. I don't remember it being bad. I don't really remember very much about it. That's weird. I thought I was really familiar with most all of these. I'm going to have to watch this one again. The next one is Something Nasty in the Nursery, which sees people in positions of authority, government ministers and that, being exposed to nerve gas that basically reverts them to childhood, and they start blabbing all of their top secrets that they don't. This is a really good episode. It's really bizarre. It's really surreal. It's really funny. And it's really strange. I really like Something Nasty in the Nursery. It's fairly balmy. Another good one for fans of British television. You've got Eutha Joyce in it, Mildred of George and Mildred. You've got Paul Eddington from Yes Minister, Clive Dunn from Dad's Army, Trevor Bannister from Are You Being Served? I mean, that's pretty top stuff. The next episode is The Joker. This is basically another remake of a original one, of a one with Kathy, which sees Emma being lured to a big lonely country house by an old enemy who's out for vengeance. Again, I've not seen the original one. I really love The Joker. Peter Jeffrey is the villain, Count Grendel from the Tom Baker Doctor Who story, The Androids of Tara. Of course, he's also in several other episodes of the Avengers, usually as villains. Ron Lace is in it as well, the Nazi from Raiders of the Lost Ark, in case you didn't know. This is another excellent episode and a big favourite of mine. Again, this was one of the earliest that I saw, and one of the ones that really kind of made me like this show, made me a fan of this show. Like, this is a great show. Yeah. Top stuff, excellent stuff. Another great episode, one of the best of the season. The next episode is Who's Who, which sees a pair of assassins, one of whom is played by Freddie Jones, basically swapping bodies with Steed and Emma, giving Patrick Macnee and Diana Rigg the chance to do something different. This is a fun episode. It's not one of my absolute favourites, but it's pretty fun. It's pretty watchable. The next episode is Return of the Cybernauts, which is, of course, a sequel to the season 5 episode, The Cybernauts. And just to make things extra excellent, we have the brother of the original villain. I think it's the brother of the original villain, who was Michael Gough in the first story, coming back for revenge and reviving the Cybernauts. And guess who's playing him? We've had Christopher Lee in this season. This week it's Peter Cushing as the bad guy. I mean, again, that alone pretty much gives this 4-star. This is a really good episode. I'm not sure whether it's better than the original. It's certainly not worse. Certainly at least on a par with it. All of the Cybernaut episodes are actually pretty good. Actually, the new Avengers one's pretty damn good too. This episode also has Fulton Mackay in it, and yeah, Frederick Jaeger, who's in many Doctor Who stories, of course. Yeah, this is another great episode. The next episode is Death's Door, which is a really weird episode. It's quite a dark episode as well. I really like this one. About these politicians who start having terrible nightmares about their own deaths, and these nightmares come true. There's something very, very strange going on. This is a really good episode. It's really surreal and really weird. And there's some great sequences in it as well. It's quite a serious episode, this one. This one's kind of got a slightly edgier quality to it. I really like Death's Door. It's a very good episode. The next episode is The $50,000 Breakfast, which is another remake of a Kathy episode. I don't remember this one. I think this is another of my least favourite episodes of the season, to be honest. I like the weird ones. You know me. I like the weird ones. I'm not too keen on just the straightforward spy stuff. I like the odd ones. This one's just a bit eh. The next episode is Dead Man's Treasure, which sees Steve and Emma going in a treasure hunt via car. It's like a madcap, wacky racers trying to find this treasure hunt that may actually, where the treasure might actually be a missing briefcase full of top secrets. And it's a lot of car chases around the English countryside. This has got Neil McCarthy in it from The Mind of Evil and What's Its Face, Power of Crowell, and Rio Fanning from Horror of Fang Rock. It was Harker, I think, in that, wasn't he? This was actually the very first episode of the Avengers I ever saw at the Doctor Who fan club in Adelaide in 1993, and I was very impressed by it. But they never showed another one, which was kind of weird. So it was years before I was able to see the show again. But I remember, I was looking around the video shop in '96, and I just happened to stumble across the Avengers, and I'm like, I remembered that. That was really good. This is a fun episode. It's a lot of fun. It's very entertaining, and it kind of holds a special place in my heart because it was the very first one that I ever saw, and I thought it was really good. I thought Patrick Macnee was great, and Diana Rigg. Yeah, I really, really liked that one. The next episode is You Have Just Been Murdered, which is basically about an extortion racketers blackmailing millionaires to not be murdered, basically, as they keep on showing just how vulnerable and easy it is, how easy they are to kill. This is a pretty solid episode. I like this one. It's not one of the weirder episodes, but I think it's quite a solid, strong thriller episode. Yeah, I rather like that one. The next one is The Positive Negative Man, which is about a killer who basically touches people and they die. It's a bit cybernautish, though it's an actual person rather than an android. This is pretty good. I know a lot of people aren't that keen on this one, I think, because it's a bit too similar to the Cybernaut stuff. I like it. It's fun. Very entertaining. Murdersville is next. This is another really good one. I think this was one of the earliest I saw as well. It's about a little English village that has basically everyone in the village has basically joined in on this scheme that has turned this village into basically the place where you can come to murder people and get away with it. Obviously, you have to pay handsomely for this privilege, but you can basically come to this village, lure the person you want to kill there and kill them, and you can basically get away with it. You can do it in broad daylight and nobody will do anything about it. This is a really good episode. I really like Murdersville. Really interesting idea. Very far-fetched, of course, but a lot of fun. And the next episode, and the final episode of the season, is Mission Highly Improbable. Obviously a takeoff of Mission Impossible. This is one of the most far-out fantasy-based episodes of the Avengers, which basically is about a shrink ray machine that makes everything smaller, and including Steed. This is a really fun episode. I mean, it's very silly, but it's very fun and very entertaining. And classic Doctor Who fans, if you need any more reason to watch this episode or this show, this episode not only has Kevin Stoney in it, Tobias Vaughan from The Invasion, it also has Nicholas Courtney. The Brigadier is in this one, playing a military officer. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't typecast or anything. Great episode. This episode also, any Callan fans? This episode also has Ronald Rad in it, who was the original hunter in Callan, and a right arsehole he was too. So yeah, that's a really fun episode. That's season 5. I really like season 5. There's a lot of really good episodes in this season. I mean, 26 episodes. You're gonna get one or two episodes that aren't that great, but there's only a couple that I would say were below average. The majority are pretty solid to really, really good. Now, I say my absolute favourites, probably Murdersville, Dead Man's Treasure, Death's Door, Return of the Cybernauts, The Joker, Something Nasty in the Nursery, The Superlative 7, Never Never Say Die, the Hidden Tiger, and the Winged Avenger. It's a really, really fun season. Yeah, I think I'd pretty much give the Avengers season 5 a straight A.